It does seem like that.
It could be. Can you hear us?
I just got an ad, so they're definitely going to be up in a second.
Okay, so we should be right back up, and we might have lost all the idiots in chat, but that's a good thing. We're going to keep talking like you guys are here anyways. So, a good play by To Be Determined to get back into this one, and it is the counter pick that's going to be made by Photic Zone that we're looking at here for Game 3. And do we have a counter pick in? We do not. Which is perfect because we need time to recuperate there.
Well,
that shark was so good it blew up the Twitch.
I just want to say, IPL, you're not low. We know you just ended stream so we can get another ad and you guys can get the money. Now I'm gonna deal with this 15-second ad.
I've never been paid for any of this nonsense. I deal with stupid teenagers all weekend long and not get a cent of it. Still. We got the ad. We forgot to pay the bills. We got the internet back on. Hello, welcome back, all you lovely people in chat. I'm assuming.
Do people lose their prediction if you end the stream? I have no clue how that works.
I don't know. I have no idea about that. Okay, so we probably still got that going on there. Did we? Oh, you know what I'm doing? The issue I'm doing here, I'm watching the VOD back of the other one. I gotta pull up the stream of the new thing.
All right, we do have the counter pick coming in. It is going to be tower control on undertow spillway. I don't think we've seen that one today. We saw Rainmaker earlier, but tower control, a little bit of a different game coming out here, and this is could be a bloodbath as both teams just trying to clear each other out of mid and get themselves onto those checkpoints. The first one being rather quick, right in front of the tower. You take like 2 steps and you're already at the checkpoint. So that first one really isn't a big deal. It comes down to those next couple checkpoints.
Oh no, I got everything fixed and now I see the chat again. Why did I do that? There we go. Yes. Quite honestly, I forgot this map was even in the map pool. So what you're going to see here, the traditional opening for the anchor players. They're both going to go up to that glass area. They're going to take a quick peek at each other, and then they're going to hide back away from each other. As is tradition on this map, it is required if you're an anchor player to do that awkward opening. Or you could see them go like right to the spine to mid and try to pick off one of the players right at the same kind of height instead of going right down at the bottom there, or hiding away up top. But this is Photic Zone's counter pick, and they looked really good in game 1. They just kind of got out mechanic there in that game 2. Doesn't mean they can't come back and win this one and reclaim the lead in this. Winning game 1 in a counter pick system is huge because all you got to do is win your specific counter picks, and you're going to win the set. So it's up to be determined to find a way to win on the other team's counter pick here. And this might not be one they've been playing too commonly here. I like the fact that we finally get a counter pick that's a little bit obscure, and that is a blaster coming out from Fling King. That is something we have not seen this team use so far.
Yeah, it's a very interesting pick, especially considering that they've been using Machine, and Machine is not only just a great weapon in general, but also just amazing on tower control as a main weapon, and for the Booyah Bomb to force people off of the tower. So they're going to be electing to go with that range blaster, which has that echolocator wave breaker.
Close enough.
Yeah, close enough. And so far, Fling King on this right side in a pretty bad position. Yeah, if you don't hit that direct against the carbon roller, you're pretty much done for. And now that just allows Bree to push on forward, and Toasty's going to have to back up, probably going to have to jump out as well. But no, they're actually going to get taken down right there. And that's going to be them clearing that first checkpoint, which is rather easy to clear in the first place, but they might be able to do some damage onto the second one too, if nobody's really able to even approach it here.
Yeah, step 1 is locating that carbon player who's probably going to be ledge camping, popping Inkzuka away. Toasty getting taken care of again. But look at the Ink Strike thrown on tower, takes care of 2 players from To Be Determined. Bree going right in there, gets denied by Fling King. So there you go, the Ink Strike buff. You wanted to see it used on tower control, and neither team is using crabs right now, by the way. This might be the future of tower control. The Ink Strike worked really well there on the defensive end and saved the checkpoint.
Yeah, that worked out about as good for Photic Zone as it possibly could, considering they got wiped pretty easily at the beginning, and the enemy team was not even able to clear that checkpoint. So it worked out really well, considering everything that happened, as now they do have control of mid. One of their team members, though, is going to get taken down, I believe maybe from a charger shot, as I don't think any player was really near them. And now it is going to be Keyfob and the members of 2B Determined pushing on forward here, as they're trying to reclaim as much ground for themselves, but they kind of slowed down once their 10 attack went down.
Yeah, and right now the defensive end has been working out into the favor of Photic Zone, but they've had a lot of difficulty crossing the enemy side of the map, and it just comes down to where that Flingza player is, or not the Flingza, the Carbon player is. Until they locate that player, it's very scary moving anywhere where there is orange ink. Instead, someone back here on this awkward side able to launch a lot of those ink strike shots. I didn't know you could throw them that far away, and it was enough to slow down the tower yet again.
Yeah, nice play coming in from them to just try and move on forward and get their teammates back into the middle of the map here. Toasty trying to look for something, but actually, I believe Rocket just takes one down right there with a nice snipe shot once again. And now they're in a pretty decent position if they're just able to get onto the tower, as both teams have teammates respawning right now. But they are in favor, but they're going to go down with that Booyah Bomb in a kind of a 1v3 situation. You're asking to kind of get shredded right there. But things are still looking decent for them, as they do have control of mid. Bree Shark in here might be able to get one. Nathan is going to probably get taken down. Yes, they are. That's the second right there. Looking for the third, and they elect to go for Toasty, and that's not going to, or Silly rather, and they're going to get taken down right there by Fling King.
That is what happens when you don't find the Carbon player. If they can't locate them, they're gonna get punished for it just like that. Look how orange this map is already on the Photic Zone side of the map. Rocket in a great situation right here, trying to find a way to dance through all the bombs and all the shots. They do get taken down, but not before they can find a way to clear that checkpoint. And there's always just one or two players here that just keeps getting doubles before they go down. There's two players Keyfob's able to eliminate before going down. And there's just no, even though they can keep stopping the tower, Photic Zone can, it doesn't matter if they don't find ways to turn these flats into offense. Right now, they're just getting bullied.
Yeah, right now, Nathan throwing up this way is looking for a teammate to come and help them. I believe the rest of the team finally did able to come, and they're able to clear up that area. So that's two down on the side of 2B Determined. I'm surprised Rocket missed that shot. The only person on his screen was that person. So very surprised that shot didn't work out in his favor. But nonetheless, Rocket able to stay alive and regroup with the rest of the team, as they're looking to put up a defense right now near this second checkpoint. The only problem, though, is two members are down and they don't have any specials. The Booyah Bomb coming in very soon, but it's not going to come out soon enough for them to get this checkpoint.
Wow, it all finally worked in their favor. This push started because they took care of Bree. Once you got the Carbon out of the way, you can actually play the game. And right now, they might find a way to get a KO because they're landing everything in their favor. Check that. Rocket able to slow things down a little bit, but there's only 15 seconds left to go. Nathan backing up here, wisely recognizing they can't die. If Nathan does die, that's a delayed wipe, and that is the last thing you want here if you're Photic Zone. To stay back, build up some specials, and very early Booyah Bomb thrown over there. I don't know about that, but it might create a little bit of space for their Carbon Roller to cook. I don't know, but they don't have a lot of specials here. They do have Wavebreaker to work with. One more player gets taken care of. Nobody's getting splatted for Photic Zone. And finally, Photic Zone able to get the one push they needed, and that's all they needed to win.
Yeah, you mentioned it right there. Once you take care of the Shark and Carbon, that opened up the map for them to just realize, now we can move on forward without being the worry of someone just randomly splatting us from behind. And they really were able to take advantage of that situation right there. We also saw a little bit of misplays coming out from the specials near the end right there. The Booyah Bomb possibly coming out a little bit too early. But you got to think they were just trying to make something happen, maybe get a random pick, create space for their team. But unfortunately, just didn't work out for 2B Determined, as now the counter pick pressure is back on them.
It is. And again, if you're Photic Zone, all you have to do is win on your counter picks and you're good to go. That is the fourth loss that 2B Determined has taken all weekend long. They finally ran into somebody, the right kind of monster to deal with them here. And if To Be Determined wants to win this one, they're going to have to take it all the way to a game 5. But right now, you just got to win on your own counter pick. They, Rainmaker, Scorched Gorge. So they can't go back to Rainmaker. If they want to go back to Tower Control, which they looked really good there, to the favor of Photic Zone, but they've had a lot of difficulty. You don't have to pick anything with the mindset of setting up game 5. You just have to pick something you know you 100% can win on. There's no strategy here other than that. And they are opting to go with Tower Control, and I would have been surprised if they picked something other than Mako Mart.
I 100% agree with their decision to go on to Tower Control once again. They were the more dominant team for most of that match. They had one little slip up, and that cost them the game. So I like this choice coming out from them. They seem to really like these objective modes where you're kind of pushing into the enemy spawn rather than the stagnant area like Splat Zone. So I think good for them to kind of keep up with the same game plan despite losing right there at the end.
Yeah, and the counter pick is in Tower Control at Mako Mart here as we're just waiting, I guess, potential sub to come out here. I guess there is not going to be a sub coming out from Photic Zone. They did bring, in that game 3, I didn't pick it up, but Silly came back in, and it was Pigment who came out. It looks like this is just, regardless of what the Tower Control games they play, this is the 4 players that they want for this. But yeah, your Carbon player, Bree, has been fantastic this set, and this is a Carbon playground. Now, I would make the argument that there is no weapon that is bad on this map in particular. Like, there's so many weapons that work out good here, but there are some weapons that work out way better than others. And with Carbon getting that new kit that we've been seeing, and with I guess this is just the age of the Carbon in low ink. It used to be in 2020 you needed a Tetra player in order to be really good low ink for whatever reason. Carbon seems to be picking up the place here in early 2023, but Photic Zone, one more win away, and Sanguine C's watching this over here, probably making notes of what everybody's counter pick is, what comps everybody's going to be using, how they're going to be dealing with these things.
Yeah, as we look at Mako Mart right here, first checkpoint, even though it's rather close to mid, honestly, a lot of teams can get stuck on that one, and once you get past that one, you're kind of clear until checkpoint number 2. But the biggest problem though is making sure that nobody on the enemy team is kind of alive in that little bit of snipe area coming in from their spawn, where they're just able to put so much pressure onto that first checkpoint. So you need to have people not only pushing the tower but also pushing up into the enemy's kind of spawnish area to keep them away from that first checkpoint, rather than what we see on some other maps like we just saw in that last one where that first checkpoint was kind of free.
Toasty often come back out with the splatter scope. A Haunt splatter scope, mind you. Nobody still uses Soda in competitive, even though Haunt and Respawn Punisher don't really affect it anymore. But they are going to keep with that Vacuum, and Vacuum does a good job of absorbing Booyah Bombs, which used to be an automatic win in the tower. However, there is no Booyah Bomb. There's not really a lot of specials. Maybe the Ink Zuka they can absorb, but it's a double Wave Breaker comp coming out from the side of To Be Determined, and they can use that to just kind of locate all the enemy players. But right now, Photic Zone doing a good job of getting the splats and control of mid.
Yeah, right now, so far, To Be Determined hasn't really made any moves, as that first checkpoint's going to get taken down. Now they just need to worry about anybody throwing up any pressure at them from that snipe area right there. They do elect to kind of move on forward, but that's going to give up the tower, and they're going to get taken down by Key Fob as well. So now's the chance for To Be Determined to push on forward. They've got the 3-down situation. There's only one left, and they might be able to stagger this one too, but actually they're playing really well to stay alive. That is Nathan right there, just dipping and dodging, but eventually gets taken down, and that does open up the room for a little bit of a stagger. But on the other end, it seemed like Fling King and the rest of Photic Zone were able to take down 2 and stall this one out.
Yeah, a great kind of situation right here for Photic Zone. Again, on the enemy team counter pick here, able to absorb what should have been an opportunity to get a push going there. Key Fob able to get a bunch of splats and then push up the right stack there, doing all the right things. But now I think they're just in a better position. You got Bree holding down the ledge camping area right there. But man, Ink Strike Yeah, Ink Strike needs to be used more. We're going to see a lot of T-Tech and probably a lot of V-Slosher going on in the future there. Ink Strike is just a great special for tower control right now.
Yep, just forces them right off of it and allows the rest of your team time to really make a plan and move on forward. We are going to be seeing Rocket move forward onto the tower, able to get that lead, but not really much. But actually, during that, even though you thought Rocket would go down in kind of like a trade for those points, it actually is his team members picking up too, and they're able to keep this one alive even longer with Rocket jumping back into the tower. There goes the tri-strike, but once again, you know, throwing up those tri-strikes kind of opens you up and makes you vulnerable because you're not able to really swim away from the enemy team, and they're going to get taken down right there. We're already moved on to this second checkpoint right here, and it doesn't look like they're going to clear it. It does seem like Photic Zone is going to be able to stabilize, but nonetheless, a nice strong push coming out from To Be Determined. And honestly, if this plays out, that could be the winning push.
A little bit of an awkward splat bomb falling right there. But other than that little splat bomb kill, it seems like To Be Determined has been really comfortable and confident on this mode. All their counter picks they've been playing really well on, at least up to this point. There's a position here where Photic Zone might be able to find a way to get lead. The tower is at the checkpoint, but Toasty already used their vacuum, so it's not going to be enough to get lead, but they came really close right now. But to my point that I was trying to get to Be Determined, everybody's doing their job. I love the positioning of all of their players, Keyfob and Bree being able to get into the right spots they need to be in. I love how these teams keep using this way. Are they not in VC with each other? Do they just keep saying like, hey, you idiots, help me out over here? Like, we've seen a lot of this ways being used today.
Sometimes when your teammates won't listen to your voice, you just gotta spam that because it's kind of the most annoying thing in the world when you hear that this way. It worked out for them to be able to clear up that area right there and force them to jump back. Toasty now working on trying to get these players out of their spawn, and unfortunately misses a shot or two right there, but now finally has the companionship of one of his teammates right there as two of the others go down. And once again, it is going to be To Be Determined on the offensive as they're just pushing on forward. Ink Strike is coming in to try and force back Toasty and clear up as much room as possible. But Rocket now has kind of a clear way to get at least a couple extra points here if he wants to stay on the tower here.
Yeah, and once again, it's the Ink Strike that's slowing everything down, but someone's just jumping forward instead of jumping backwards, took the fight to the enemy side of the map, and somebody else rotated to the tower. Great position and great rotation right there. Again, To Be Determined is just way too comfortable in the maps that they counterpick. Toasty here, just a desperation kind of vacuum to stop something right now. But yeah, there's time left. I think this is still over. I think we're going to a game 5. I don't see To Be Determined throwing this one away.
Yeah, it doesn't seem very likely right now that Photic Zone's going to be able to turn this around. But, I mean, that's a start right there coming in from Toasty. But it is going to take one of the members on their team staying on the tower for the remainder of this match right now. It is going to be Toasty up on there with the Splash Wall to kind of give them a little bit extra protection. Also almost has that vacuum at the ready. They're going to be throwing that up here and create as much space for themselves with that Ink Strike as well. So things are looking pretty good, but they have to realize that Bree might be able to try and flank them here soon. But they have a lot of time to work with, and I'm surprised that on the other side, we haven't seen many of their specials go up. Finally, the specials do come out, and that's going to be the game. So nice play coming out from To Be Determined to just take that kind of slow. I thought it took them a while to build their specials for some reason, but in the end, they were able to do so before anything got out of hand.
The only way Photic Zone was going to win that one is if their desperation specials that they popped early would just get a splat on somebody. So they threw their Booyah, they threw their Ink Strike, they popped that vacuum, I guess trying to just build up a blast that they could throw to try to kill the other teams before they got that Ink Strike ready to go, before they got that Booyah ready to go, or the Inkzuka, I guess I should say. And they just didn't get any of them. So that's just kind of a bit of a desperation play, specials that they used right there. And since they didn't get any splats, the game just ended because all they got to do, oh, I got Ink Strike, GG, you're over. So great play there by To Be Determined. They've looked like a dominant team on their two counter picks. The problem with that is, though, Photic Zone gets to determine game 5. They can't pick tower control. They can't pick splat zones. I would hope that they don't think about picking Rainmaker unless they really want to get Pigment back into the game. So I'm assuming we are going to see Tower or Clam Blitz being used here, and that is exactly what they're going to do. I don't know if you want to go to Inkblot, though. That's what they're going with.
Yep, they are going to be going with Clam Blitz Inkblot Art Academy here. And, I mean, from what we've seen from both of these teams, that it can be hard for, to be determined to get Bree up onto their plat, but once Bree's up there, it could be very hard to get rid of them. So I think this is a little bit of a risky play coming out from Photic Zone, knowing that, not only if Bree gets onto our plat, do we have to drop down into our own plat and kind of be taken down that way, but if they even get control of mid, dropping down into mid, you might fall right into the carbon as well. So a little bit of a risky play coming out from them, but nonetheless, this is something that I guess they feel comfortable with.
Yeah, I mean, it has to be a comfort pick, because I was thinking the same exact thing. If Bree gets into the right spots, it's GG. We're moving on to grand finals there. I was thinking maybe they would want to go like Eel Tail, a little bit of a longer map, a little bit of a more narrow map that might work out into the comp that they have. But regardless, this has to be a comfort pick for them. And when it comes down to game 5, you don't want to overthink it too much. You just want to go to whatever your bread and butter might be, even if it might work out to the other team in certain situations a little bit better. I guess the question is, are we going to see the Blaster come back out here from Fling King? And they're not making any other comp changes, that being Photic Zone. They're keeping Silly in. So Pigment, sorry, you're going to have to keep watching the stream and just kind of watch your team kind of play through here. That is the most stressful thing to do, by the way. It's not actually playing in the game. It's watching your team play on stream where you can't do anything. I've been on teams that have like 6-7 players on it. Watching them play when you're not a part of it it's one of the worst feelings in the world, unless they actually win.
Yep, so now everybody on Photic Zone has to win this one for Pigment here. As we're going into game number 5 of this winner's semis between To Be Determined and Photic Zone. We're actually seeing Fling King going with the Carbon on the other. This is a completely new comp coming out from Photic Zone as they're bringing out the Custom Junior with the X-Splasher and the Carbon Roller, so completely different comp from them.
Who do you think you are? I am! I'll show you what a real Carbon looks like. Okay, and X-Splash, so Photic Zone's up to something here. They've been cooking up this kind of comp, but it's still the T-Tech versus the Splash matchup, which is what this might come down to. The Carbon player, Fling King, instantly getting splatted immediately from the side of Photic Zone, as this map is very yellow at the very beginning of the stage.
Yep, so far things are looking pretty good for To Be Determined to just, clear up as much ground for themselves as they possibly can. Now Nathan here on the right, trying to win that little bit of 1v1, but dips and dodges his way back to the rest of the team. Toasty has 7 clams at the ready. Both teams have a lot of clams already going for them, so once they're able to get those picks, they just need to be able to capitalize off that situation. That's 2 down right now. I want to see Toasty
you gotta go.
Of Photic Zone just move on forward because they have everything they need.
You gotta go. Yeah, this is your opportunity to win the game here, right here. And they lost a lot of players in the process. Nathan stuck in a crab, able to get a splat. And will they escape? They will. But that was they escaped for at least a little bit. And that probably slowed things down a tad bit for To Be Determined. But that is when you go. When you have a 2v4 situation, you got all those clams, you just got to go forward and strike while the iron is hot before the rest of those teammates jump back in. And they were able to do that. 60 points off your first push is pretty good. But they did lose a lot of players in the process. But now it's Fling King working around this right side. Might have got the double there as 2 players go down for To Be Determined. And this map might turn pink or purple pretty quickly for Photic Zone.
Yeah, right now Rocket and the rest of To Be Determined need to work their way back into that one. The Wavebreaker was able to at least clear some space, and now they do have control of most of mid. But they need to just find at least the clams at the ready. They do have 15, but now they need to pick. There's 1 onto Fling King. That's the start. They might be able to get the Custom Junior there on the right as well, as they were in a little bit of a bad situation. But now you got to worry about Nathan getting out of this one, as he had the crab at the ready, but they're going to get taken down. And now it is going to be up to Be Determined to kind of take advantage of that situation, but somehow, some way, Photic Zone was able to stay strong.
Yeah, you gotta go now. It's just the Carbon player that's left alive, and they're starting to recognize where Fling King is. Instead, Keyfob able to get all the way up top there, getting a nice splat on Toasty, and working, keeping everybody's attention up top. And they still can't take care of Keyfob. That is going to be lead, and they're the last player left alive, falling down right now. Still getting another splat. They could keep the push going a little bit longer, maybe get their teammates to jump back in. Finally, Toasty gets revenge on that, and more players jumping right back in, getting splatted immediately. A great push and a great flank by Keyfob, and able to get a lot of distraction going off there to add to the lead.
Yeah, 2 minutes remaining left in this one right now as both teams just going back and forth for that mid control. Right now, it is going to be Photic zone now with the advantage. They've got the numbers advantage. They've got complete control of mid, and they've thrown the specials at the plat of to be determined here. Toasty's already got that power clam at the ready. Once they get that pick, going to want to look to go quick as usual, as they've been doing throughout this set. So far here, but things aren't looking too good now as Nathan is forced to kind of retreat and jump back out. It's a nice defense coming out from to be determined to not even really let anything start up there.
About a minute 15 left to go, and if you're the team with the lead, you want to keep the aggression up. You want to try to add to your lead, because this isn't really something you should feel comfortable with right now. All they got to do, Photic Zone, is pop the basket and throw in one more power clam. They got the lead right back, but they got Photic Zone completely boxed in right now. Flink King trying to make a play down on the bottom side, gets splatted for nothing. And Toasty, I don't know, they're just trying to make sure that paint's on their side, but they lose track of Bree, who's able to come up and get a trade. But look how yellow this map is, and it hasn't even shown signs of switching back to purple anytime soon.
But as you say that, they're able to get a pick in mid onside. I believe it was the Tenatech on the side of to be determined right there, and that kind of opened up things for them a little bit, but they elected to just run back out, and that's going to be Flink King, though, going down in the Carbon 1v1 as Breeze able to get the best of them right there, and only 20 seconds remaining, and, you know, Photic Zone being pushed back onto their own plat, and the double coming out from Bree is exactly what they needed to keep this lead for themselves in these last 10 seconds here, Popgun. Oh, and the score.
They are going to pop the basket, but is it going to do anything but give an extra pity clam to the side of Photic Zone? Keyfob back over here. Oh, they're going to try to KO it right now, and they do. They slip past. Keyfob able to draw a distraction. I think that was Bree that went up top there, got the final clam in overtime that automatically ends the game, and to be determined wins 2 in a row to punch their tickets to grand finals.
Yep, everyone who voted for Photic Zone to win that one lost all their points, sadly. But great game coming in from both teams. Honestly, that was really back and forth. You got to give it up to Photic Zone to go into that one with a completely new comp compared to what they were running in the other games and still make it such a competitive match. And honestly, if it wasn't for Bree getting in that extra clamp to kind of seal the deal, or whoever it was rather, to just end that game in overtime, then, you know, they had a good strong push possibly coming, as they had more than enough clams to kind of get that one going. We see the replay coming in. Toasty right now, it was able to get the pick onto Rocket. Here we see Bree going up onto that right side, Keyfob on the left, and Bree just able to seemingly pick up one clam and throw that in to end the game. You know, great play from To Be Determined to secure themselves into winners finals.
And you know what? If Photic Zone overcommitted to stopping Bree, then Keyfob was right there to just do a little bit of a dually roll in and throw it in themselves. So they had a great pincer situation there, really recognizing how to close out that game. Nicely done by To Be Determined. We are going to take a short break here on stream while we get everybody into the lobby, and we're going to start, come back from the break immediately with game one. I know we're running up against some clock here. I know you guys in Europe need to be going Betty by soon so you can go to work or school, or both. So we'll be right back with grand finals of To Be Determined versus Sanguine Seas right here on IPL. Hello, friends, and welcome back to Grand Finals of Low Ink January 2023. I am Popgun, joined by the Walkman Walkie, and we got a doozy of a set for you guys. A rematch from yesterday that went into the favor of To Be Determined as Sanguine tries to get revenge on them and take first place in this tournament.
Yeah, I mean, we alluded to it earlier. Both of these teams were capable of making it to the grand finals, and that's exactly where we'll find them here today. Both of them coming off of 3-2 victories to find themselves into here, so they're used to the pressure at this point, and they're ready to take on any challenge that lies before them. To Be Determined, obviously the team that just won our last set. And not only were they used to the pressure, they needed to come back from, being down 1-2 and losing that first game, which gave the other team the counter pick advantage. So they've seen it all at this point in the game, and you got to think that they're ready to really show Sanguine Seas that, we beat you yesterday and we could here to do it again right now.
A little bit of a change from those of you that are watching Low Ink last month. This is not a best of 5 bracket reset potential. This is a single limb tournament. It's best of 7. First team to get 4 wins automatically wins, and the tournament is over just like that. Counter picks are a little bit different in best of 7. You can only not pick the mode you most recently won on. So you will see some modes being repeated if this one does go the distance. And this is the third time we've done a best of 7. The previous 2 did go to a game 7 in alpha bracket. But the way these two teams have been playing, I don't think it's far-fetched to say that we're going to go 3 for 3 as far as grand final sets going to a game 7. Game 1 starting off here, it's going to come down to Bree being able to play on their playground of Splat Zone's Mako Mart, going up against Sanguine Seas, who we should be seeing come back out with the squeezer, I believe is what they were using, and also the splat dualies. But no, Flings is going to be coming out from Wicked instead. All right.
Yeah. And you kind of mentioned it right there. They lost on their first Splat Zones map in the last set, but I think this one plays a little bit more into their favor with them being able to stick to that carbon roller for Bree. So nice. Hopefully they take advantage of the Splat Zones map being kind of advantageous to them. We already see both teams duking it out here for the center of the map, and it is going to be Sanguine Seas getting that zone right now and able to take a short lead, as a couple members actually are going down from each side right now, and the tri-strikes are coming out to the zone that should possibly be able to cap it right now if they're able to just move on forward and paint up the zone. Is to be determined.
Yeah, and they're not able to find a way to cap the zone. One more player gets taken care of by To Be Determined, and they use an Ink Strike that doesn't accomplish anything. Finally, they're able to take care of a Splat Dually, though, and Keyfob, who has just been making stellar plays all tournament long that we've had them on stream, is the one player who's able to stay alive here, but they're still not able to cap the zone, holding onto this Booyah Bomb as long as they can, and trying to just get a pick on somebody here on the left side off. Finally, they're able to control the zone and use the Booyah Bomb on the backside to back some people up.
Yep, that Booyah Bomb creates a little bit of space for themselves, but I think 2 of their team members went down on the other side. It is Keyfob once again find themselves in a position where they have to retreat and wait for the rest of their team. Now he's going to jump out and get back to those team members. Squash going to get taken down, however, and now this may be the opportunity for To Be Determined to move on forward. They're going to have the Wave Breaker. They're also going to have the Trizuka. Both of them coming out right here and clearing up at least one member. I believe they got the Flingza Roller right there. Taken down was Bree, and now that might just allow Bree to at least get a little bit of ground and get themselves into those shotgun positions that were just so advantageous to them in the previous set.
Yeah, and they recognize that as well, being able to do that. But I'll tell you right now, Keyfob seems to be like the, no pun intended, the key player for this team right now. You rarely see that player get splatted. The machine just kind of knows where to go and knows how to avoid being splatted and build up all the specials and getting the right key spots that they need to be in. But right now, it looks like lead will go into favor of To Be Determined. Bree's doing a good job of sharking and getting all the splats that they need to get as well. And this could be a potential KO situation because a lot of players from Sanguine Scenes are getting splatted right now.
Yeah, good. Gotta give credit to Bree and Keyfob right there. Both of them kind of a dynamic duo, just fighting those 2v1 situations together and able to clear up most of that left side and keeping them away from that zone. We've got only 2 seconds remaining here. They're not able to stop it in time, and that's actually going to be determined taking game number 1. And, you got to think about it in terms of the last set. They weren't able to, win the splat zones there. It kind of looked like it was out of their hands, and Photic Zone was in control of that one in that previous winter semis. But here on Mako Mart, kind of the playground that they needed here for Bree to kind of take control.
If you're Sanguine Seas and you've played this team before yesterday, I think you kind of got to go into that game 1 with the mindset of, we're going to do everything we can to win this one, but we're probably at a disadvantage. And that's why you saw them switch off of with the weapons they had been using. Wicked, who has been using like Squeezer and other kind of shooting weapons, going off to that Flingza. I think that was just like the map in particular saying, let's just try this. If it doesn't work, who cares? We got a lot of counter picks we get to make, and we can get back up in the set. That game was just kind of built for to be determined to win it, and they showed it why right there. So here we go. First counter pick of this. First one to win 4 games is going to win the entire thing. And the counter pick system is a little bit different. So before it was, you can't go back to the mode you can't go back to a mode you won on, period. Here you can go back to a mode as long as you have it wasn't the one you most recently won on. That won't come into play later, but there's no sense in trying to box the other team into an awkward situation, because the same kind of strategy doesn't apply as far as like how you can limit the other team later into the set.
Taking a look back at their set from yesterday in the group stage, interestingly enough, game 3 of that set, which determined who won the entire set, was Splat Zone's Mako Mart, and to be determined won that game there. So they must have already felt pretty comfortable going into that one. And to look at maps that Sanguine Seas won, it was a 1-2 loss for them. They were able to win on Clam Blitz Hagglefish Market. So possibly something that they might look to go into once again. We saw obviously a different mode, but to be determined lost on Hagglefish Market in the last one on Splat Zone. So maybe they're not too strong on that map, and maybe that's something you could go to. But we are actually going to be going over to Splat Zone's Brine Water Springs, and that's a little bit of an interesting pick. And I think it's not the strongest one for the Carbon Roller and Bree, and so maybe that's what they're thinking.
That, and they can also get Wicked back onto the Squeezer, and they can get them into some sight lines where they can use their Inkzukas a little bit more clear, and they don't have to use that Flingza. So this is a pick to get them back onto the weapons they want to be using. They feel like gives them the best advantage. And if it is something, like you said, where they beat them yesterday, they might want to hold on to that map a little bit later into the set instead of burning through it right now. But then again, you don't want to go down 2-0. At any point, so you definitely want to pick something you feel like is really going to work out into your advantage, and I feel like this is a smart pick for the stage.
Yeah, and especially considering that Splat Zone's map, once to be determined was able to get a nice strong hold, they held it for the rest of the game, but before that it was back and forth. So I think they definitely realized that they can win on Splat Zones, and so they're electing to figure that out right now and see if they can just get this one out of the way early and move on to a new mode after this once they're able to clear up this win.
And let's see, did they use X-Splosh last time they were here? I want to say they did. It was like game, I forget what it was. This was wild. This green's been going on a long time. But I feel like they used X-Splosh. No, they did. They did use X-Splosh here last time. So they're going to drop that E-Leader. And you might see Rocket stick with that E-Leader again, which they're comfortable fighting against E-Leaders on this map, obviously. And that is going to be a scoped E-Leader coming out from the side of To Be Determined, and that is the X-Splosh we were expecting. So yeah, going with the T-Tac instead of the Squeezer. But still, these are the weapons they want to use, and that's exactly why they made this pick. Let's just see if it works out for them.
Yep, right now, the early zone is going to be going over to be determined, but that's going to be neutralized rather quickly. We see someone over there on the left was in a 1v2 situation. They actually are going to get taken down by Squash and the rest of the members of I don't know, I always forget these team names at the worst times. But it is Sanguine Seas, so see, I figured that one out on my own this time. So great job from them to neutralize that zone. It is going to be Key Fob throwing up that Booyah Bomb to try and, you know, at least create a lot of room for themselves to move on forward. And, you know, nice showing for them to kind of claim the zone. And they also have the picks to kind of move on forward. So this is really good for them.
Someone able to get an Ink Strike splat on somebody opposite side of the map there. And that wasn't enough to kind of stall everything out because all someone had to do was turn back to zone and able to cap it into their favor. But that might delay a little bit of a counterplay coming out from the side of Sanguine Seas. And as soon as I say that, they are able to cap control the zone, but lose another player in the process. But again, just like the last time we saw them on this map, it comes down to that X-Blosh just kind of camping out up top there. And you see them throwing a lot of things, including that Booyah Bomb, to try to make that X-Blosh uncomfortable. But the X-Blosh knows exactly all the angles they can hit from that right kind of spot. But Rocket, this is, honestly, I don't know why we don't see more Charger players get on top there. You can't stay there when 2 of your Slayers go down, but that seems like such a great spot for a Charger player to be in.
Yeah, especially since the X-Blosher can't really approach you as long as you're there first. Before they're able to get to, you know, their side snipe area. They can't really even approach you at all. So that was a nice position from them. Unfortunately, like you mentioned, 2 of their teammates were going to go down there. And it is going to be Sanguine Seas actually pushing on forward with control of the zone and able to get a nice, strong lead right here as they're still pushing up forward into the enemy base. And this is exactly what you got to do in Splat Zone. Just take the fight away from the zone. Even if we go down, you know, we still are getting a lot of points for us as the enemy team is trying to even approach the zone. So nice plays coming out from Sanguine Seas to rack up a lot of points, and they're still going.
Oh, they found a way to kill the X-Blosh player, though. So that might give them the zone back into their favor, enough to where they can cap it and get some serious points. I don't know. Wicked able to fall back and down into control of zone here, but they were at least able to break through the defenses and keep that X-Blosh player able to splat them, but nobody else. That kind of shows that there might have been a flank or somebody able to land the right kind of bomb to attack. You usually don't see teams get taken out from behind first. So there might be something there for To Be Determined to work with to try to get that play going again.
Yep, right now it is going to be Bree having to back up due to the Crab and the rest of the pressure coming out from Sanguine Seas. Right now, though, Squash has to back up now as their Crab tank is done. They're going to just throw up some pressure onto the zone to paint it. And we got a 1v1, crucial 1v1 by someone right there to win it. Are they going to be able to get this next member? But as they're looking for it, their teammate gets taken down right here. And they got to act quick with the Tri-Shock. Should be able to neutralize it, but nobody's really going to be able to put up any pressure. And that's going to be the game going over to Sanguine Seas. Nice showing from them in that game where, honestly, they were in control for the majority of it.
Yeah, they were able to just kind of bully them in the same way that they got bullied in game 1. So what we're starting to see here is counter picks are going to be insanely important for who wins this match. Because if you get on the right map with the differences in the comps that both these teams have, that's going to give you a monstrous advantage over the other team. So if you're Sanguine Seas, you are in a bad situation right now because all To Be Determined has to do is just keep winning their counter picks in particular. I feel like there are enough carbon maps to where they can do that without burning through all of them. I don't know. I'm sure they'll come up with a way to do something like that because even though you can go back to modes you've won on later in the set, you can never go back to a map that you've won on regardless of what the mode is. But To Be Determined, it's going to be... Man, I just feel like it's going to be a struggle for us to find a map where both these teams are going to be dead even with each other because it seems like they just figure out how to separate themselves on certain maps.
Yeah, and I mean, now is the time for To Be Determined to think back to not only, you know, the last set and what counter picks worked out for them in that, but, you know, their set yesterday. So far, you know, they were able to win on Mako zones twice. And looking back at that first set that they had yesterday, they also won Rainmaker Undertow Spillway. So is Rainmaker something that they feel confident up against this team? That, you know, is To Be Determined, and that is exactly where they're going to go. But it's going to be Rainmaker on Scorched Gorge, however. And this is actually the one they did win in the last set, and that was when, you know, Rocket just kind of straight up went for it and was able to push all the way down to 30. So they felt pretty confident in that one, and, you know, their defense was really strong as well. I don't believe... the members of that they versed in that last set, the Photic zone, were even able to clear that first checkpoint. So their defense was really strong in that last time they played here, and they're looking to do that again here.
Yeah, and Key Fob was able to make a top 10 style of play by sharking with that machine and able to get a nice triple on top of it on the defensive end. So yeah, from offense and defensive standpoints, To Be Determined looked really good here. So it makes perfect sense why they would pick this one. Again, they're going to be crazy confident on this map in this situation. If Sanguine Seas can find a way to win this one, it's way too early to say this, and it could be a little bit too hot takey. But I feel like Sanguine Seas will win the tournament if they can find a way to win this particular map mode in general. Just because it's just such a confident pick for To Be Determined to come out here. And with the way you've seen these counter picks going so far, that it's just it would be such a backbreaker if To Be Determined can't find a way to win this one.
Yep, right now we're going into game number 3 of Grand Finals. It is going to be To Be Determined versus Sanguine Seas right here. And for To Be Determined, no changes to their comp at all. And we do see on the side of Sanguine Seas, them going with the pretty standard comp that they've been running throughout this tournament so far, keeping up with that Squeezer and the Dualies as they're, a little bit less traditional picks, but more traditional to their comp.
Also notice Sanguine Seas runs a lot of comeback. I don't think anybody does that at all. I forget what all comeback does, but usually you just see people run last-ditch effort or something else. But I guess they're kind of used to getting splatted and knowing how to take advantage of that few little frames that buffs you when you come back from being splatted. I just found that kind of interesting because several players have been using it, not just one for them.
Yep. And to start this one off right here, it is just both teams taking a little bit of shots at each other. We saw a pick going from each side there, as now we're kind of in a neutral, but Wicked once again using that range of that Squeezer to win a 1v1, and that opens up things for Sanguine Seas to push on forward and clear that checkpoint with ease right now. And also look at the positioning of the E-Leader right now. They're going to be hard pressed to really move on forward here as the Wave Breaker's coming out. The E-Leader's got the pressure of that long range, but they're going to actually be the one to pick up the Rainmaker and move on forward and push all the way down to 30. You go past that right now as they're going down to 12. Strong push, and honestly, we might not see a stronger push for the rest of the game.
Yeah, that is a game-winning push right there. 3 minutes and 40 seconds left to go. It's Rainmaker, yada yada. We've heard this before, but that is a heck of an opening from Sanguine Seas. And this is really where we're going to find out how mentally tough To Be Determined is. Are they just going to phone in this one, or are they going to find ways to bounce back and get a win on their own counter pick right here? This is one they can't afford to lose, even though it's tied 1-1 in a best of 7. Bree's going to have to start sharking around this right side, making some plays. That is step 1, taking care of the Flingza. Can someone find a way to get some more picks? It looks like no. 3 minutes left to go right now, but yeah, that is a huge mountain they got to climb.
Yeah, and the most impressive part about that push was not only did they push it that far to 12, they didn't even give up mid in the process. So we wasted another minute or so getting back into mid for To Be Determined here. Rocket is going to be picking up the Rainmaker, but it's already pressured by 2 members right now. And luckily he's able to stay alive with the help of a teammate, but now is probably going to get taken down by that dually right there, who ends up trading, but still great position for Sanguine Seas to be in, as now they had to get the jump out on To Be Determined, and once again they're able to clear up mid and claim as much ground for themselves and just keep this up for as long as possible, not even allowing them to approach that checkpoint.
About halfway through the game right now, Sanguine Seas with a massive lead. A checkpoint separates them, will buffer To Be Determined as well. Squash, who's been the leader, the one who goes first with everything that Sanguine Seas does, opting to kind of back off right here. And this is the question Sanguine Seas has to answer. Do they keep the aggression up? Do they keep being the more aggressive team when they got 3 players? Yeah, 3 players are now down. Are they going to try to pick up the Rainmaker and put it on the enemy side of the map? It looks like they have no intention of doing that just yet, unless the E-Leader was just a little bit slow to getting to it. And yeah, I don't think you want to turtle up with this much time left and give opportunities for the other team to try to win. So yeah, a little bit slow picking up that Rainmaker, but I think you got to play for the KO.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily playing for the KO, but at least just getting the Rainmaker onto the enemy side of the map. It just means that they have to at least take it further during their pushes. So great plays coming out from Sanguine Seas to just at least stall this one out in a pushing manner, where this Rainmaker's so far away, and now they still have to deal with getting out of their own spawn before they can make anything happen. But we do have someone right here having the tri-strike at the ready to try and clear up as much ground for themselves as they can, able to somehow stay alive right there, as Wicked was putting some shots onto them right there, dancing around that platform, and that, could be at least them staying alive. Maybe an opening for this push to kind of happen here, but they need to at least get 1 or 2 picks before that can happen, not trades. That's not what they need right now.
Yeah, but at least they're trying to make something happen. You see them going in, trying to get those hero plays, which is really, at this stage of the game, you're just going to have something miraculous work out into your favor if you want to get back into this one. They do have control of mid. They do have a slight man advantage right now. They do have some specials built up, but they need to start working together. You see these players kind of going off their own. Someone's kind of been by themselves. Kefob's been by themselves, and just kind of using specials, seeing if something with them will happen, and nothing's going to go their way. This one just might be too much for them mentally to go overcome. I think we're heading to a game 3 with Sanguine Seas in control and reclaiming the lead as far as counter picks are concerned.
Yep, right now they have one last shot right here. They're going to be able to break this checkpoint with relative ease right now. They just need someone to push on forward and get the picks that are necessary. Someone's going to help pop it right now and allow them to just pick it up and move on forward. Rocket has the Rainmaker at the ready. They do have a crab on the side of Sanguine Seas there. They have 2 crabs actually at the ready. Are they going to be able to put up the pressure needed to keep them away? They do have a lot of time, though, on the side of To Be Determined, so they might be able to just stall out those crabs. One of their team members is going to be taken down, but Rocket's not really in the most advantageous position to kind of help out those 2 frontliners who are moving on forward. They're going to have to make a move here relatively soon, but this is their last chance to get it here, Popgun.
This is a really weird situation. Time is still a little bit on their side. One more player goes down from the side of Sanguine Seas as Rocket's being very patient, not trying to throw anything away. But that is the second crab. You survived the first wave of crabs, but you waited a little bit too long and you weren't going to survive the second wave of crabs right there. Sanguine Seas made it interesting at the end. But again, that massive lead is why you saw Rocket that far back. They knew how far they had to go, so they needed somebody to just get some splats, and Sanguine Seas didn't make a mistake and give them a splat that would have cost them the game.
Yeah, unfortunately for To Be Determined, that player with the crab tank on that left side, they just took a little bit too long splatting them, and honestly weren't even able to splat them in the end, as the crab tank was able to be popped eventually by them. So they just needed to deal with that a little bit quicker if they wanted any chance at securing that, or at the best maybe just not diverting as much attention to that one player and just focusing more forward. Possibly could have got them a couple extra points, but like you said, 12 was a very strong push where they kind of needed to get a wipeout to really even have a chance there.
Yeah, if it was like 40 remaining, they would have gone for it. If it was like 35, maybe when it was all the way to 12, you just gotta be like, all right, I'm not even gonna attempt it till we get like a 2-3 man advantage before I'm even gonna put myself in that situation over the hump to get something going there. So there you go. Sanguine Seas. Say that 6 times fast. Gosh. 2 wins in a row after dropping game 1. They won on their counter pick. They won on their opponent's counter pick. A map where To Be Determined looked really strong on in the previous set, and now it's up to To Be Determined to figure out what their next pick is going to be. What was the one they picked last time? It was they picked Tower Control Mako Mart. They can't do that because they've already won on Mako Mart in this set. So we're going to see a brand new counter pick To Be Determined has used all tournament long. And I wonder if they thought this far ahead, like what is their third best map going to be?
I mean, thinking back to that last set, what else did they play on? They played on Undertow Spillway, which I think they won. Or was that a close one that went right down to the wire? They ended up losing that one, but it went right down to the wire. So that's a possible one for them. But they are going to be going to Tower Control Inkblot Art Academy. And honestly, this isn't a bad pick for them.
Yeah.
We saw them play Clam Blitz Inkblot and put up a good fight and win that game out. So now going to Tower Control plus Inkblot, I think they have a good chance here to bring this one back, in their favor.
Yeah, this is another good pick from them. I don't think it's a pick that necessarily gives them a monstrous advantage over the other team. I make this joke all the time, and some people in chat are recognizing this. Whenever it doesn't matter what the tournament is, what skill level it is, what the counter pick format rules are. Game 2 of every single counter pick tournament is always Tower Control at Art Academy, and it always boggles my mind how some teams feel like, oh, this is going to give us a huge advantage over the other team, when you know the other team was going to pick this map and mode anyways. But in this tournament like this, where I believe this is the first time we've seen this map being picked, map mode being picked in general, maybe it's a little bit more unbalanced than what it normally is. It's just in high level. I have no idea what those teams think this map gives them an advantage over their opponent. You're all using Crab. What's the difference? But whatever.
Yeah, but we are dealing with low level here today, where, you know, there's a little bit more thought into their counter picks, apparently. Here we go. Both of these teams sticking out with their tried and true comps. Keyfob, though, is going to be bringing out the dually squelchers. We've seen them on it in the past. And it's worked out for them variably. They've won some games with it. They've lost some games with it. But they feel comfortable with it on this map in particular, because I believe they did bring it out in that Clan Blitz Ingleblatt Art Academy match before. So that's already going to be Bree going down, though. Rocket, though, able to take down that crab tank really quickly. And I don't even know how that second shot reached. It didn't seem like he charged it at all. But it somehow reached that player and was able to at least put up some damage. And possibly allow them to at least force them back and allow their team to recontrol mid right now, as now they're in a decent position with Bree able to control mid and have a decent amount of sharking opportunity if anyone approaches that tower.
Yeah, if they can get Bree up top on that plat and then put Keyfob up on that left side, they'll find a way to clear that second checkpoint. Instead, there's just too much defense by Sanguine Seas right now. You saw them able to splat Bree, who was thinking that same thing. Oh, Rocket! Able to get a nice little poke from halfway across the map as well there. And Ekria just kind of stuck back here on the defensive side. So yeah, right now everything's working out pretty good into the favor of to be determined. They got a long way to go. They only cleared the first checkpoint. But again, they kind of understand the positions they need to get in. And it just comes down to, can they find a way to get a wipe and get the right kind of splats? But right now, Sanguine Seas is going to be the one that's going to be pushing up the offensive. They getting all the splats right now.
Yeah, both teams right now kind of going back and forth a little bit. We saw, as you mentioned there, Sanguine Seas get the splats, but so far that tower hasn't really moved. And, I was going to say now the rest of the team is regrouping, but they were able to get a couple picks. Now it's kind of a 1v1 situation or 2v1 situation going in favor of Sanguine Seas, but they're actually going to get picked off by Rocket, I believe. And here comes Bree coming in. They're able to clear the checkpoint as Sanguine Seas, but not able to get much points after that as Bree forces everyone away from that tower. And, you know, in that little claustrophobic situation, that's where, you know, Bree really could shine there, and, you know, the rest of the enemy team has to respect the position that they were taking.
About 3 minutes left to go here in game 4. Basically a tie game at this point. Both teams cleared the first checkpoint. Who really cares? It's all about clearing that second one there. And Keyfob opting to be the one riding the tower. It didn't seem like they were set up to get that push going, so I don't really know why they were in that tower. You got to be in the right positions you need to be. And you see Breeze keep trying to go up those steps, ultimately to get denied. Recognize, I believe it's just the charger there that's just keeping everybody at bay. And that's the oh, never mind. Let's change subject here. 2 players for Sanguine Seas just went down, and Rocket's somehow going to survive that little frontal assault from I'm right there. Okay, there might be something here.
Yeah, they got the specials to clear out the area, but now they just need someone to actually get up onto the plat. And like you mentioned, that's been their struggle thus far. And nice defense from Sanguine Seas once again to not let anybody even approach their spawn area. And that's really been the difference in this game, is nobody's really been able to get up onto the enemy plat and really secure those points for themselves. Nice snipe onto Ekra right there is going to open up the middle of the map and allow them to just kind of get back into this forward position here. And they also have the crab tank at the bottom, so I think if they're able to just clear out these splats really quickly, they should be able to move on forward, as once again 2 down on the side of Sanguine Seas. But are they going to be able to push forward? And it looks like finally they're breaking through.
Yeah, Keyfob finally able to get to the spot that they've been trying to get through this entire game, but Bree got taken down as well along that back side, so they aren't able to get anything substantial. But maybe at this point, with a minute left, maybe just getting those few extra points is what you want. I mean, you're never going to feel comfortable with this low of a score, but your defense has been playing so well. You've been shutting down all the attempts, like that one right there, trying to go up the zip line, and you've been burning through their specials. That other team using their crab right there. Look at them all dogpiled onto that tower. Nobody really trying to flank or go up the right side. Are they going to get lead off of that? They are.
They are going to get the lead right there. You saw Rocket try to throw up a snipe onto that tower, but I believe they hit a wave breaker instead of the player. So unfortunately, was going to miss that shot right there. Now we see Wicked and the rest of Sanguine Seas trying to just hold down mid as they're kind of pressured right now. Not going to be able to get out. Didn't have the paint to get back into their own spawn. And they only have a 1-point lead. So once Bree and the rest of To Be Determined kind of gets those flats, they should just be able to take nice positions to just secure that lead. That's all they need is 1 point there. So just move on forward and should be able to, get this one for those, as there's already 2 down here. Yep,
that's going to be lead. That's going to be game, and that is a huge lead to get, because if they don't get that, they're down 1-3, and essentially the tournament's over at that point. Instead, they finally win on their counter pick, but now they can't go to Mako Mart. They can't go to tower control either on Ink Block. They can go back to Splat Zones if they want, but they're running out of maps that they'll want to go to in the future. But right now, they don't have to worry about that. They need to figure out the way to break through Sanguine Seas counter picks on their own. The Sanguine Seas, the last mode they won on was tower control, right? Both teams have won on tower control. Mm-hmm. So they've already made their counter pick. They're going back to Splat Zones on Hagglefish.
Well, Sanguine Seas, I believe, won Splat Zones and Rainmaker, correct?
They did. So Rainmaker was their most recent win, so they just can't go back to Rainmaker. Not tower control, you're right.
Yeah, so we are going to be going to Hagglefish Market. Interestingly, we saw both teams had to play this in the last round. It was that standard map that started off those sets. And I believe we did see on the side of To Be Determined, they did lose this one to Photic Zone.
Yes.
And Photic Zone looked fairly dominant until the end, where it kind of got into a back and forth. So possibly that might be going into why Sanguine Seas is picking that one. They were able to win it in their last set, and the opposing team wasn't. So possibly they're thinking going into this next one.
Yeah, another good counter pick here. Again, another typically a neutral pick that you would go with, but with the differences in the comps, there might be something here that Sanguine Seas feels really confident with. And again, we're tied 2-2 here. All the games that we've done in grand finals have gone to best of sevens before, or a game 7, I guess I should say. And this tournament's been going on a little bit of a long time. I think Sanguine Seas is EU, whereas To Be Determined, I don't officially know. I'm going to take a guess that they're NA. So it might be Monday where Sanguine Seas is playing right now, and that does kind of play a factor as this tournament kind of creeps on into the night here. But you really got to buckle down here. There's only a maximum of 3 games left. You really just need to play good for 10 minutes, and then you can finally rest easy knowing that you're a lowing champion. Critical game 5 here.
Yep. Winner of this one secures himself 3-2 and puts them, at least in a position to get that last game counter pick if needed. So crucial game number 5, as you mentioned right here. We are going to be seeing Ekara go on to the Explosher, tried and true for this map for them so far in this tournament. And on the other end, not too much change going on for To Be Determined. We saw them bring out this comp in game number 1. We already see Ekara going down, though. However, on that left side, it is also going to be the Dually Squelchers going down for To Be Determined. And that zone now is just going back and forth between the teams, as both of them haven't really been able to completely clear it. But that might get it started right there as a nice pick, double pick with that Trizuka right there. You get 3 shots, you get 2 kills. That works out pretty handily for you.
With everybody using Crab and Ink Strike right now and Wave Breaker, I think we forget there's also a pretty decent special in Inkzuka. Now there's some RNG to it, which can be pretty annoying at times, where it just arcs around the person that you're aiming at. But sometimes it works out really well, as we saw right there with the Flingza, and that gets Sanguine sees all the way down to below 50. Will they hold on to the zone a little bit longer? I don't know. Breeze trying to throw some Ink Strikes of their, or Ink Sugas of their own. Able to get care of the Splash-O-Matic player. Surely they're going to find a way to cap zone right here. Bree moving all the way up, taking the fight away. It's more players from Sanguine Seas gets taken care of.
Yeah, they're all kind of forced back right now, and this is the kind of position that you need to be in control right here and allow Bree to just, you know, force them into them, falling down right here, right into that carbon roller. But they know that they're there, so they're going to just have to spam it out with bombs, and hopefully works out for them to get back into this one. But unfortunately, that crab tech was kind of stuck between, do I stay in the tri-strike or do I fall right down into the carbon roller? And they're going to get taken down as a result. And that is going to be the lead going over to be determined, who also has, you know, special advantage right now. They've already got one wave breaker that was out, and now they've got a second one coming out.
Yeah, Rocket over here recognizing that there is an X-Splash that's in kind of an awkward spot, or at least a splash that is, and Bree coming back around this backside as well. They're threatening to get the KO right here. What a change of pace that this set has taken. After getting bodied on their own counter pick and Rainmaker Scorched Gourd, they bounced back and went 2 in a row and are 1 game away from claiming the tournament.
Nice showing from to be determined right there. And, you know, I was thinking about it before this game actually occurred, was that, you know, the carbon roller isn't that strong of a weapon on this map, since, you know, you have to kind of cross the mid to get all up in the enemy's face and kind of make use of it there. But once you're in control, you don't even need to necessarily get the splats, but just the enemy team knowing that you're sharking somewhere makes them slow down and not approach like they would like to. So nice plays from To Be Determined once they took control to just get everyone in the right position to really put on a strong hold.
And now Sanguine Seas, man, what a tug of war this set has been. It seemed like Sanguine Seas really established control after winning 2 straight, and then To Be Determined bounced back. And Sanguine Seas wasting no time. They really don't want to take time to think about anything or come up with, all right, is this really going to work out into our advantage? They know exactly what they want to do, or maybe they just want to get this over with. Regardless, Clan Blitz Museum has already been picked, and their players are already readying up. They know what they want to do here. Fair enough. They won this one, Game 5, a couple of sets ago.
Yeah, they were able to win that one. You know, I believe that was a
wait, they lost that one. It was like Game 4.
Pacific won it, right? Yeah.
Yes.
So interesting for them to come back to this one, but I believe, if I'm right, it was a back and forth game, so it's not like they got completely dominated or anything like that.
Right.
So, you know, it could still be like, maybe this is a mode that throughout the tournament they figured out kind of what they want to do on this map, and, you know, judging by them readying up so quickly and things, I don't think they're going to really change too much about their comp. And then on the other side, I don't see too many changes either. Possibly the only real person who's been changing their weapon has been Key Fob, going between, I believe, like Dually Squelchers and Sloshing Machine. So that's really the only changes that have been coming out from them. And either of those weapons honestly work on this map.
Potential tournament points on the line here for To Be Determined, who's going to have to come up with a better team name if they win this tournament, if they want us to recognize them going forward. The Squeezer coming back out from Wicked, who's going to have to be trying to fight. Somebody's going really in right now. Is that Bree instantly just trying to take a fight 1v4? Okay. No, it wasn't. It was Key Fob.
It was Key Fob and someone were pushed up pretty far right there. Key Fob, though, is going to get taken down, like you mentioned, pretty quickly due to their aggressive position, which allows you know, the members of Sanguine Seas to kind of clear up all of mid and claim it for themselves. But the Tri-Strike's going to be coming out to get them some ground right back on there. And there's just a pick going out from either side. Nobody really able to make too much of a stand thus far, as we got the Crab Tank trying to clear out the plat of To Be Determined.
Yeah, they got a lot of clams built up there in a good situation right here. Able to get 2 players down. But I think one of the players that they lost on their own side was the one that was having all the clams built up. So that's going to slow things down a little bit. And your splash players forced to retreat. Probably going to try to play to get onto mid there so that they can use their crab and start getting some pushes going. But a lot of clams being built up, but they lost. Instead, they sacrificed a lot of space to gather up all those clams. So... but still, a minute only gone off the clock. And 2 more players instantly. We've been waiting for fireworks, and finally there they are.
Yep, 2 down. That's going to spell for time for them to move on forward, but unfortunately they're going to get taken down with that power clam, and the other players are going to have to pick that one up and move on forward here. They do elect to throw that power clam back for the remaining player, I guess, but then pick it up again. I don't know if they know what they're doing. They just needed to decide. It wasn't going to disappear in time. The player definitely had time to come and pick it up, but I guess they felt a little bit too much pressure. So they wanted to just pick it up and get it out of there themselves before the members of To Be Determined were able to move on into the middle of the map and claim that ground where the power clam was.
Turning nerves definitely going to be put on display here now that we're just 1, potentially 2 games away from this tournament being over. The pressure starting to build as one player goes down from the side of Sanguine Seas, who does have To Be Determined backed up a little bit here, and that is this crab tank that is forcing players to back up a little bit, and they got a lot of clams. It's just they've had so much difficulty getting up to that plat. Finally, somebody on the back end able to pop the basket, and if To Be Determined can hold on right here and prevent all those clams from being thrown in, that'd be a massive W. And wow, that is a huge defensive stand, because the floodgates could have exploded with all the clams that Sanguine Seas had loaded up.
Yeah, and they still have those clams at the ready with the crab tank already pushed on forward into their base. Crab tank gonna have to back up due to the bomb spam coming out from To Be Determined, but still, their Sanguine Seas looking to push on forward and in a great position with 2 down already. Should be able to get a score here with Bree out of position. Bree's gonna be able to get that pick, but not before the power clam breaks the goal there, and another power clam comes in with a little bit of extra for them too, as they're pushing on forward and still keeping this one alive.
Yeah, and you do have your E-Leader players, the only one who's still got some clams, so that should be the end of the push, because you don't want to sacrifice too much to extend lead here. You don't want to get greedy, but now Rocket's in a great position in mid. I don't think the Charger player recognizes that. Hello! Another splat from Rocket against the enemy Charger. We've been seeing that going on today. Throwing up the power clam up top there, and someone's in a good position to throw some more ink strikes to keep players at bay. Wicked gets eliminated as well, and someone is just going in right now. Might get a triple on top of that Charger, but I think it's the Charger player that's eliminated a couple of these other players on the back side. Do they have enough clams to get the lead right here? That is the question, and they do pick up the power clam to jump right in. That will just give them one more clam that they need to get lead, and the E-Leaders, the player that's got it. Rocket's trying to throw some up top there. Can they get there in time? They do! The lead goes into the favor of To Be Determined with a minute left to go.
Yep, now they just need to play defense. Nice aggressive push coming out from them so far. Key Fob and the rest of To Be Determined just need to clear up mid, and actually they're still pushing this one on forward. They got an extra clam in there, which, 2 of their members are going to go down for it, but that was an extra 15 seconds or so that they kept that goal and kept up the pressure for them. Now they just need 40 seconds remaining. Oh, Rocket trying to get that snipe, but Bree is actually going to be able to help them out right there. Nice clutch play from Bree to take that one down and make sure nobody got to Rocket, and opened up the floodgates for Sanguine Seas to just move on forward.
This might be your tournament right here. Sanguine Seas about 17 seconds away from watching To Be Determined escape with the trophy here, but 2 players going down from To Be Determined as the rest of the Sanguine Sea players are coming in, and all kinds of hell is being thrown at To Be Determined's way. They're all getting splattered right now. It's just Bree being the last player left alive, and here comes Etika. Do they have enough clams to get the lead in? And they do! Surviving in overtime. The heart rate must be going crazy with those players right now, and once again, welcome to Game 7 of Grand Finals here in Low Ink.
Amazing back and forth between these 2 teams. I don't know who that player we were watching on To Be Determined was. They're using some type of shooter, but it seemed like they were getting so many hit markers but weren't able to get a kill right there at the end. So unfortunate for them to not really be able to put an end to that push right there, and that just allowed Sanguine Seas to get themselves back into this one. Game number 7 as we're going into, and now it is going to be To Be Determined who has that counter pick in our last crucial game. But honestly, both of these teams have been able to win on the other's counter pick, so I don't know how much that really means in the end.
Yeah, this is just what is your best map mode combo that is available for you to be picked. Just go at it, 5 minutes of a bar fight, and whoever's the last team standing wins. I mean, you've been playing for so long. It's so late in the day. You're so emotionally drained at this point. Sanguine Seas was talking about how they were shaking at the end of semifinals. What is their blood pressure at right now? At this point, all strategy almost goes out the window, and it just comes down to who is mentally just more mechanically skilled than the other player and who can survive. Now, they can't pick splat zones. That's the only thing. That's the last thing to be determined one on, so they can't pick splat zones. Who cares? I don't think they want to go to splat zones anyway.
I think they want to go to tower control.
Yes, they got to do tower control, but more importantly, they can't do Mako Mart, which they desperately want to do. They can't do Ink Blot, which they desperately want to do. They can't do Scorch Gorge, but I don't think the only other thing they could do Scorch would be Clam Blitz, so I don't think that really matters to them. But the mode they want to go to probably is fine. It's just finding that right map might be the issue for them because they've won on so many good carbon maps already.
Yeah, and I think
I think you go Undertow.
Yeah, I think you go Undertow as well. It's a map where, once again, if they're able to get Bree into a good position, pushed on forward, where the enemy team kind of has to drop down into mid just to get to them, that could be in a really advantageous position for themselves. And then we've saw, that's a map where the Chargers could really do a lot of work, and Rockets hasn't missed a step yet so far. They've been very solid on that E leader, keeping it, holding it down for the back line and the rest of the team. So I think that's a map that could play into their favor. And it might be a little bit of an even matchup, but sometimes that's all you need in the Game 7, an even matchup. You don't need the most amazing map in your favor. You just need one where you're not completely bad at.
Yes. Yeah. Honestly, at this point, it's just like, what's the least worst? Okay, so they're going tower control at Sturgeon Shipyard. So tower at Sturgeon. So they picked tower. What they got with Shipyard here in particular. When was this? Who was? This was Revenge Tour in Sanguine Seas, where it was like, how did Sanguine Seas find a way to lose that one?
Yeah.
So that's a little bit of the mental game they're going with here. I mean, I feel like this is a good map for them. With what's left, I feel like this is fine.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing was, like we mentioned, the mode was most likely, everything was pointing to let's go tower control, so they at least got that part down. The map, I think, could play into either team's favor here, but, like we just mentioned, it's a map where no team has a clear advantage, and sometimes that plays a pretty large factor into let's just play our best and see what happens in this Game 7, as both of these teams, I think, really have a chance.
I made the mistake of looking at chat. Some people are doing a copy pasta, other people are complaining about copy pasta, and somebody's debating on if the Pacific Ocean is really necessary for our planet anymore. So I'm just going to ignore you guys for the next 5 minutes. You all have fun with that. As we get ready here for a decisive Game 7. Welcome to Low Ink, ladies and gentlemen. Winner takes all. Loser gets to go cry on Twitter to their private account and all their 3 followers.
And probably get banned from Low Ink anyway.
Just to be safe, who knows? No real surprises here from either team. Yeah, I mean, just go down with your bread and butter. Wicked, of course. Hey, it's Game 7. There's got to be a splash somewhere. The only crab on the field.
And then on the other side, Keyfob elected to bring back out the sloshing machine. We've seen them do some work with it early on. And, I think that's the right play, considering we're on tower control. You get the Booyah Bomb, you get the sloshes itself. I think a much better choice than the Dually Squelchers they were bringing out earlier in other maps.
Yeah, you can't really go wrong with any of the comps that everybody's picked here. Pretty good painting situations coming from everybody. It just comes down to, can Squash keep up the aggression from the side of Sanguine Seas, as they've been able to kind of do popped crab in kind of a bit of an awkward spot over here. But in this game gone to 7, where everything's neutral, so many nerves on the line, it's who's willing to kind of take the fights as they approach them. And Bree in a good situation right here to finally get the one splat they needed. And I don't think your Charger player wanted to expose themselves right yet with nobody to support.
Bree just went on an absolute tear there. I believe they got 3 before going down, so that clears up the position for Rocket to take on that first checkpoint, and that's obviously a crucial one. You can get stuck there depending on the game, so nice to clear that one a little bit early on in the game right there, and try to push on forward. We see Wicket barely surviving for a bit until they finally go down, and actually that's almost all the members on the side of To Be Determined going out. It is just going to be Bree left here, and they're just, I think, going to shark this out and see if anybody tries to approach that side and get themselves a nice free pick.
It was hard to keep up what was going there. It was just bodies hitting the floor left and right. But when the dust settled, the first checkpoint falls into the favor of To Be Determined, and Sanguine Seas has yet to really establish control of anything. The Charger players constantly been just left up top here by themselves, and just nobody really alive to support. Finally goes down, so it's just been staggering coming out from Sanguine Seas. And if you are To Be Determined, you got to recognize this might be your only opportunity to end the tournament. You got to go right now. And they see them trying to do that. Bree trying to push Shark around that left side. Nothing's going to happen. Squash able to not get the splat, but they do take care of somebody on the slide. And Keyfob's in a great position, keeping everything away from the tower. This is your game-winning push right here.
Oh, and you saw Keyfob, and I believe that was Bree pushing up forward onto, or someone actually trying to get that E-leader, but that kind of drew all the attention away. You're focusing two players to get that one pick, and then that somehow allowed the rest of the team on the side of Sanguine Seas to just take care of the other members. So things were a little bit shaky during their push right there. They had all the right ideas right up until the end where they committed too much to maybe going after that Charger player.
Yeah, somebody's got to ride the tower right there. Still 41 remaining or To Be Determined. It's a decent lead, but they left a lot of points on the board right now. Keyfob not able to get a trade off of that. That is the Fight Club. 1v1's only down there. It comes back out of it. Now it's fair game. But the Machine player trying to get some picks on this left side. Regardless of all the shenanigans that's been going on, Sanguine Seas has not gotten comfortable or established this entire game. Yes, To Be Determined probably should have got some more points up there, but their defense and map control is so dominant right now.
Yeah, and I think it really comes down to Rocket has just been able to put down so much pressure with that E-leader, and they haven't been able to really approach them the way the front line of To Be Determined has been able to approach Ekara. We've seen time and time again them just pushing them off of that snipe and forcing them back to spawn as they were right there. And once again, we have To Be Determined on the offensive, and they might be able to even get some points out of this one, maybe even that checkpoint right now, as now they have to deal with only the crab is left. They're actually in a great position to actually maybe knock this one out.
Yes, this is probably your tournament right here. To Be Determined still going to coast on through, and that will do it. To Be Determined wins in Game 7, and they are the first champion of Low Ink in 2023.
Great games from both teams, but you got to give it up for To Be Determined in Game 7. We were talking about maybe that last map not being advantageous to either team, but they really showed that they knew what they were doing on it right there. Every single team member, I think, really played to their role, and that kind of helped them secure that victory. We saw the frontliners doing exactly what they needed to do, pressuring the backline of Sanguine Seas, pushing on forward and creating opportunities for Rocket to just, ride that tower pretty easily. But then on the other side, we saw Rocket, holding their own and creating a nice stance for themselves on defense. And like I said, the whole entire team, I think that was a nice team effort from all of them to really pull that one through.
That was a fantastic counter pick right there. We were talking about maybe it doesn't matter what they went with, but they went with something that absolutely bullied Sanguine Seas for 4 straight minutes. And honestly, if they just had somebody ride the tower earlier, that one would have lasted about 2 minutes. I can't believe what a dominant performance in that Game 7. What was a tug-of-war set back and forth between those two teams. Sanguine Seas went to a decisive game 3 sets in a row. Just couldn't pull out the third time, and hats off to Be Determined for the heck of a run that they went on, and they are now officially banned from Low Ink. We'll never see them again. Wow.
And I have to point out, though, you did pick Sanguine Seas to win the entire thing, so you're wrong.
Well, okay, so that's nothing new, and you know what really sucks? I didn't say a single word about To Be Determined. saw this coming. All right, which one of you? I know you guys make your top 10 list on Twitter and whatnot too. Ain't not a one of you said a damn word about to be determined either. So don't come at me. I know you guys are, but we'll talk about that on Monday. Oh man, what a tournament! It's been a long one. I know you guys got to go Betty bye. Some of you got to go watch Genesis and see what happens. Is Melee still going on? Are they done with Melee yet? We'll go check that out later. But let's wrap things up here. Walkie, welcome to Low Ink.
Yeah, no, that was my first time commentating not only Low Ink, but a low-level tourney in general. And I had an amazing time. All these teams, I think, put on a show. And they have the potential, to see them, coming up in those weekly with the mid-levels or low-high level teams and even make a name for themselves in those as well. So I'm excited for all these teams that we've seen in this top cut.
Where can people find you? Because these idiots in chat, they're not used to what was Splatoon 1, I'm sure.
Yep, so anyone could find me on Twitter at Walkman_04. And that's pretty much it. I had a great time with this tournament. Thank you guys for inviting me, and hopefully it's not my last time commentating Low Ink, because this was a great tournament.
Hey, all you can do is hope at this point. You guys can catch me on my stream on Monday, where we're going to talk about To Be Determined and all the other things that happened this Low Ink weekend. 168 some odd teams played in this one, and To Be Determined was the last team standing. And I'm also commentating with K-Bot, Cherry Limeade versus Michelin Heroes on this Splatoon Ludi set run by Falco. So I should probably go eat food and
that is twitch.tv/Splatoon tourney, I believe.
Yes. So we'll see you guys there in an hour and a half. And until then, from all of us here at IPL, the head TOs for this event, myself, Hoenn Hero, and JPEG, our lovely and talented producer who secretly had replay technology and never told us about it, Ink Fair, did a fantastic job as always. The rest of our wonderful staff, and you, yes, even you, the idiots in chat, we appreciate you being here. We'll see you back next month for the next edition of Low Ink here on IPL.
Unless we don't.